So I've been thinking, when I look at the Eagles and I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I see something very similar, which is two teams who are relatively successful, but they keep switching offensive coordinators. And why is it that Tampa Bay is very consistent and very effective at this, and why is it that Philadelphia sucks? I've kind of figured it out, and it's because the Buccaneers have a scheme that they want to run, and they keep getting coaches to run that scheme, where the Eagles keep trying to run a scheme that doesn't work, and yet they keep committing to it every year it gets bailed out. Okay, let me explain. We're going to start with Tampa Bay. And what starts with Tampa Bay actually starts up in Cleveland because Baker Mayfield starts in Cleveland. And after a year, he gets Kevin Stefanski as his new head coach. Kevin Stefanski comes from the Sean McVay, Clint Kubiak, Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. Like, that is the biggest coaching tree in the NFL right now, right? It's not a tree. It's a forest. It's massive. I won't go into it, but just know it's big. Half of the offenses you see in the NFL today run a variation of that scheme, okay? Or of those schemes, plural. Each of them are different and unique. But so Baker starts off in one of those schemes up with Stefanski. And then he moves down to Carolina because he wanted to get paid. He couldn't get paid. He goes down to Carolina. It doesn't work out with Matt Rule. Mid-season, he gets traded, or he goes on waivers. He goes over to the Rams with Sean McVay and learns and has a couple good games and, puts out good tape. And then Tampa Bay calls him up and they say, hey Baker, we like what you did. Come replace Tom Brady. And he does. But the one thing that Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Bucs, now that, Bruce Arians retired like a year before and Tom Brady's now gone, and the whole offense is getting scrapped because Tom Brady was basically running a variation of what he was running in New England. And so what they did is they bring in Dave Canales, the offensive coordinator that was with Baker Mayfield last year with Sean McVay in LA. And, Canales is there for 2 years, and the offense is humming. The offense is good. The offense looks great, right? And everyone's like, whoa, what's this Baker Mayfield? We've not seen this Baker before. And then what ends up happening is Dave Canales gets hired by the Carolina Panthers. And the Bucs are like, oh no, what do? That's our guy. We got to keep this progress going. So what do? They go hire Liam Cohen, another Kubiak, McVay, Shanahan guy. And he comes in. Liam Cohen comes in. And he does great, right? The offense is humming again. The offense is looking good. Tampa Bay is looking pretty good. They're a playoff contender. And they lose in the playoffs again. But it's like, okay, it's okay. Oh, Liam Cohen, you're going to be back, right? Yeah, I'm going to be back. Duval. Remember that when Liam Cohen went in the middle of the night up to Duval County to go coach Jacksonville? So now the Tampa Bay Bucs are like, oh shit, we don't have anyone else. What do? Oh, that's what we do. Let's take the guy who was our screen specialist, who was the coach in charge of our screen game, which was the best screen game in the league last year, and who was in charge of developing our third down play packages. Let's make him the OC because he's also a student of this coaching cycle, and he's been here for like the past 2 coordinators. And guess what? He implements the very similar system, and it's working again. It's humming again, baby. So what this lesson is Tampa Bay found the scheme they wanted to run because it worked with their players and their quarterback, and they kept investing in it. And you know what helps? Having the most popular scheme in the league. That is what helps. All right, so let's look over at the Eagles. How did the Eagles develop? Well, the Eagles start with Nick Sirianni's scheme in 2021 that got scrapped halfway through the year because it sucked. Nick Sirianni came up with a terrible offense, and then Shane Steichen, who we might know for being the guy who made Justin Herbert who he was in year 1, and then is currently made Daniel Jones so great. I'm joking, Daniel Jones popped his Achilles last week. That Shane Steichen, head coach of the Colts, he was with the Eagles. Shane Steichen develops a far more dynamic and effective Eagles offense. He's the reason A.J. Brown's so good at the deep ball. The Eagles offense plays great, nearly wins the Super Bowl, and then Shane Steichen's like, cool, great, I've been here for a year and a half, for 2 years. I'm going to coach the Colts. And the Eagles are like, okay, that's fine, because guess what? Nick Sirianni, he still has the rest of that original coaching staff on offense that he made. He called in, and it looks really good. So they promote Brian Johnson, former offensive coordinator in college, to call plays for the Eagles. Except they don't keep the Steichen stuff. They switch back to Nick's scheme from 2021, and it doesn't work because, well, Jalen Hurts is on pace to be the MVP for the first 12 weeks of the season. He keeps throwing picks. It's very predictable, and the offense falls apart again. And then it's like, okay, everything fell apart, blah, blah, blah. Then the Eagles decide, okay, that didn't work. We cannot do that scheme again. So what they then do is they then go out and they hire Kellen Moore, who's a West Coast offense guy. West Coast, specifically the Gulf Coast under Coach McCarthy, that branch of the West Coast. He goes out and gets that, and he brings it over here. And so then you have Coach Nussmeier, Coach Moore, and Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, and Kevin Patullo spending the next year hammering out a hybrid offense between the Nick Sirianni scheme and the Kellen Moore scheme. And they come up with a really good offense. But here's the problem with hybrid offenses like that. They need coaches who know how to hybridize them to keep them functional. Here's the problem. Both Kellen Moore and Coach Nussmeier, the quarterback's coach, leave to go down to the Saints when Kellen Moore takes the head coaching job. And so the Eagles are pretty much now left with, so we now have a new variant of our scheme that is very effective that we don't know how to run because we don't have someone to run it. And so they go to Kevin Patullo, who was the Eagles passing game coordinator, and they say, hey, you've been in the room for all these different schemes of Eagles football. Make it work. You can do it. You're the offensive coordinator. And Kevin Patullo's like, sure, I'd love to be an OC. I'd love to be an offensive coordinator. I've been assistant head coach and passing game coordinator for years. Let's take the next step. And then for the first 2 months, Kevin Patullo doesn't know what he's doing. And then the third month, he starts putting stuff together. But by then, the offense doesn't trust him. They don't trust his play calling. So they start trying to be superheroes and do hero ball shit. And that's why Jalen Hurts is throwing picks over the past month, because he doesn't trust the offensive play calling, even though it's gotten better. It's gotten better, guys. It's no longer bottom 5. It's bottom half. It's the 20th. The play calling is 20th now instead of 27th. So now it's okay, so the Eagles play calling works, or is working better, is working decent, and now the players aren't doing their job. And this is all because the Eagles don't have a scheme and system they want to run that works, that they're committed to. And I just thought that was funny. I worked this out in my head over the past hour, and it's this is an example of what to do as a coach and as a team, and what not to do as a coach. Because, this is all because Nick Sirianni is too stubborn to import a new system into the team long term and give it time to germinate and become a whole new scheme.